Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another week of Getting Back to Work. This is our 21st recording. I am Bert Hart, and this is my lovely host.
I'm Mandy.
And thank you, Openpath, for sponsoring this. Brought to you by Openpath. And today we have a lot of amazing articles as usual. As you can see, we are definitely in a spirit of entertaining you. All right, to kick us off, I will start us off with our first article. And this is brought to us by The Economist, by Burley B. And the title is Why Office Morale Would Be Hard to Maintain This Year. Jingle bell, jingle all the way. That is what I was listening to a week before Thanksgiving as I put up my Christmas decoration.
Yep.
This year, for the first time in my life, I started Christmas before December.
Me too.
Oh, my geez. I laughed a lot when I read this article because I felt that I could seriously relate. This was a very good read, and it touches on the gloom and doom of the season. I can only imagine everyone in management, HR, or employers were all saying the famous lines known from Game of Thrones. If you haven't guessed, winter is coming. As I read this article, a recent survey found that 68% of Britons said that the pandemic has adversely affected their mental health before the night started drawing in. In the circumstances, many people will be tempted to put up more Christmas lights just to have a cheerful sight. And that brings it back to me. I definitely put up my Christmas lights and my decorations early this year because this year has been quite the journey. The approach of winter is a problem for employers and workers alike. When the Western economies endured their first COVID-19 lockdown, and it was in spring, the days were lengthened and people working from home could take a break from their labors and go for a stroll in a local park or something. Many could take their laptops and work in the garden if you were lucky enough to have a garden in your backyard, or even to do your job remotely. To offset the gloom of winter, we've all had, the holidays to celebrate, with countless activities, to kind of bring us more cheer towards the end of the year in our office spaces. So for the most part now, due to pandemic, we don't have these office spaces. And, just as I read in the article, employers are trying to figure out new ways to boost the morale of their employees during, winter, because everyone goes through, well, not everyone, but a lot of people, suffer from, what is it called? Seasonal winter illness or something like that, or depression, because what's that?
Depression and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Because a lot of people not getting a lot of sun because we're not outside as much. So, this article definitely kind of touches on, a lot of things that employers are doing, or trying to do or looking out for because of this. So here are a few things that, reading from the article, that some people may try to do. We see already because of the pandemic that we have, Zoom happy hours. And, that's kind of a nice thing to do, but it's still not the same as, actual in-person end of the year happy hour or the festivities that take place at the office. Some people may not enjoy Zoom drinks. Another potential idea that employees might do because of COVID-19 during this season, there are possible Zoom quizzes to bring, more morale to your employees, but some people may not feel comfortable with answering questions. Some people may not know the capital of South Carolina. The other ways companies can boost morale at the end of the year is with annual bonus that tends to bring quite the cheer. But this year, because of COVID-19 and how hard pressed the economies was and the hit that a lot of employees took, earlier on, maybe giving bonuses will not be, may not happen this year, to be honest with you. We will see. But, due to the economic strain that a lot of people felt, I highly doubt it. And I highly doubt that a lot of those will go out this year, which, is kind of a downer. And reading this article, is really meant for people looking for ideas of boosting morale in this, like, during COVID-19, like, how do we work around, keeping people's spirits up when they're not in the office? And, because we are doing our social distancing, we can't be social. We can't have the end of the year holiday parties where some people, drink a little bit too much. We can't go hang out. We can't go hang out at the bars and stuff like that. So this article kind of presents a challenge and, states the fact that employers this year is going to really have to step it up when it comes to boosting their employees' morale. I love this article. As you can see, I am full of Christmas spirit already. I was ready to go 2 weeks ago. But it's a great article, and I definitely suggest, anyone who are in that managerial position or HR position, who are at least interested to see how they, have, faced the challenges of dealing with their employees during this season, should check it out. It's a really good read. So Mandy, what are some things that you've done, or did you start your holiday season off early?
Yeah, no, I certainly did. As you can see, I was about to get this tree set up like the only thing that stopped me is I knew I was going to travel. Okay. And and our cats were going to be here kind of somewhat by themselves, from a sitter popping in, on the daily to check in on them and feed them and everything. And I'm like, picture my cats knocking that tree down. So it's the only thing that stopped me from putting it up. So yeah, no, definitely in need of that holiday cheer. And I don't know, I'm just happy December rolls in and it helps. It helps spread a little more happiness. Oh, yeah. And the weather gets cooler even here in Florida. So we even dipped into the 50s here in Florida. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
People are out wearing their heavy coats, and I'm just like, okay, all right. Yeah, I get it. The only time of year you're able to wear the cute winter outfits. I get it. But yeah, no, that's a really good article, I think. It also shows people that they're not alone in how they're feeling, and it's just like, we're here for you. We got you. We get it. We're feeling the same things, and we're all in the same boat here. And I like that article because it definitely shows that. But I got another good one that's kind of trying to take a crummy situation and turning it into something awesome. So our next article is from Fast Company, and it's titled "As Office Buildings Empty Out, Here's One Creative Use for All That Space." This is by Nate Berg, and it was actually sent in to us from a viewer of our show. Whoa. Wow.
Oh,
And we love that. So yeah, if you ever see any articles that you run across that you think would be great for GBTW viewers to hear about, definitely send it on over to us or share with us in the comments section,
yeah,
whichever works. Yeah.
yes, most definitely.
Yeah. But all right, so to start this article, we all know that unfortunately many of our offices around the country are sitting empty at the moment due to the pandemic. And while some of these offices will eventually come back to life, others may actually not. So an interesting thing here that this article addresses is how can we possibly still utilize these office spaces? And well, a project in California actually shows us one of the ways these empty spaces can be used. And I love what they actually did here. So this project in California, they transformed a formerly vacant office building into a new school. So the office to school conversion was designed by architect Dinesh Kurani, who has developed a specialization in converting commercial buildings into innovative new educational facilities. In 2019, his firm converted a vacant office building in the San Francisco suburb of Livermore into the new home of Acton Academy East Bay, which is an affiliate of the Austin-based, Bert, private school Acton Academy. I don't know if you've heard of that school, Bert, up in the
Yes, I have.
area. Yeah. And this Livermore version of the school shows how underutilized office spaces can actually take on different forms to meet our society's evolving demands. And as the pandemic adjusts many companies' expectations about their office needs, we may see more of these kinds of reuse projects giving new life to formerly empty commercial real estate, which is awesome. And what's actually even cooler is that architects like Kurani are taking environmentally friendly forms of development, since they're simply taking advantage of space already built and they're sidestepping the need for the usual resource intensive materials required for constructing and building completely from scratch. Kurani even took advantage of the former office's doors and windows and used them as materials for other parts of the project, like to make desks and bookshelves. And I think that's awesome. And on top of this, these changes, are also economically flexible options for small and startup organizations, especially schools. And this kind of office space reuse may start to become more commonplace as companies reevaluate their needs and as remote working leads to smaller office spaces. Karani adds that it won't just be schools, but other kinds of community and youth focused uses that can take over and keep these buildings from sitting empty. He says that obviously with COVID, it's helped companies realize they can get by with less commercial real estate. And so there's going to be plenty of vacancy in office spaces. So it'd be good to figure out what are the highest value things we can put in those spaces. And yeah, no, that's the article as a whole. And I thought it was fantastic. I'm really happy a viewer of ours sent this on over to us. And I thought it was really cool. It's just kind of shedding light to something kind of sad. We're not in our offices, but it's just like, well, hey, look what we can do with this space. So yeah,
Nice.
A little sprinkle of hope for our future.
A little hope coming for us in 2021.
Oh yes.
Along with 2021, we can only hope for the best for the future. But that's how I say it. Well, with that being said, I'm going to give us our final article for today. And our final article for today is titled Slow Work from Home Mornings. Try these tips to supercharge your sunrise. And it's brought to us today from Forbes, written by Stephanie Burns. Working from home has been quite the journey. Before COVID-19, if our alarms went off, for most of us, we are immediately up we are out the bed, we're making coffee and breakfast and preparing to head out the door. But because of COVID, the urge to push that snooze button has become even easier since we don't have to get up in the morning to face that morning commute, or in a lot of cases, even have to put on clothes. That's right. You can work all day in your pajamas. In this article, Stephanie gives us awesome tips at making the most of our morning and conquering that snooze button. The mornings are still prime time to get our best work done, and or some say where our creativity peaks. Tip number 1 from Stephanie: getting everything ready the night before. Ooh. Don't procrastinate. Oh, famous words. We have all dreaded these words at night, right before we hunker down for the day. And if you're like me, you may have said these words, and these words is, I will do it in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I find myself saying that a lot these days, and it every time in the morning when it comes, it is way harder to do it in the morning. Save yourself some time and do it the night before. It is always a little bit, well, not for everyone, but in a lot of cases it's a little bit tricky to do some things in the morning that you could have just done easily at night, especially if you're binging hours of Netflix and Hulu. I know I do sometimes. But here are some things that you can do to kind of help your mornings go a little bit faster. You can set out your clothes. You can put that gas in your car, especially if you're going to be driving somewhere. And you can make a morning quick to-do list. Those are a few things that you can do to kind of like keep your mornings going a little bit faster. And the next tip from Stephanie is to get moving immediately. We've all heard the saying, a person in motion stays in motion. Think about it. The slow, sleepy mornings tend to lead to slow, sleeping days. But if you get up and go first thing, Manny, you got up and ran this morning. Props to you. You are more likely to blow through your to-do list with fever. This is in alignment with the first routine recommendation to never hit that snooze button.
Yep.
The second that alarm goes off, tap into your Mel Robbins 5-second rule. If you don't know about 5-second rule, please YouTube it now. And jump out of the bed like a rocket for a productive day. And the final tip was to leave your email checking until later. Now, I am guilty of this. One of the first things I do in the morning is I roll over to my side and I pick up my phone and I check my email, or I see what's going on, not always. I've been better about this, checking my social media. But as tip number 3 suggests, Justice Laundry says that there's nothing on your phone that won't still be there later. Consider leaving your email tab or app totally closed until you knocked out a few of your to-do list items and thoroughly embrace the day. According to sleep advisors, more than half of all Americans start their day by checking their emails. In other words, they roll over after their alarms go off and check, just as I was just saying. I know we all are taking on the challenges of living through a pandemic, whether you believe it or not. things are definitely different, and learning how to adjust and deal with the new day to day is the only way to keep ourselves and the people that we were spending countless more hours with from going crazy. And that wraps up that article and another week of getting back to work. Also, just want to thank you all for being with us over all our recordings and our live events. Thank you so much. Thank you, Openpath, for sponsoring this. Please subscribe. We will drop the information down below here. Subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know if you guys want us to cover an article that you find interesting, or maybe relates to getting back to work. We would love to check it out. We would love some feedback from you all, and we will see you all later.
Bye, all. Thank you. Have a great weekend.